It was a different company.
Yes.
So
till now, nobody
publicly indicted. But
yes.
the company that actually brought the product, we got to know. You know, I think they brought it from Belgium or from somewhere. Now, that's to quell the claim that NNPC alone. I know, at least I know, a company into oil and gas that was importing along with the NNPC. You know, in that sector, it is what they want Nigerians to know that they tell Nigerians. We've always demanded for greater transparency, greater accountability, and all that. That always doesn't happen. They do not tell you the truth.
Yes.
When there is crisis, they do not tell you the whole truth.
Yes.
Now, it has taken one of the stakeholders to say, so look, we're having this problem because some companies that used to, some refineries that used to sell petrol to us were on turnaround maintenance. And then we are hearing that smaller vessels are now increasingly getting involved in importing the product, which means that it will ultimately lead to some supply hiccups. The point that I think has to be stressed is what the marketers have said to the NNPC. They say, okay, you have commenced emergency fuel supply. After 1 week, we are advising you to sustain the emergency fuel supply for another 2 weeks. That is the only way that we can have sufficiency. Because once these supply hiccups begin, it takes a while to clear out. They just announced to us that about 4,000 trucks left Lagos, heading for different parts of our country. Those trucks, if some of them will be going to maybe Maiduguri, for example, it could take 2 weeks. They could be on the road for 2 weeks, or a little less than 2 weeks. So for this whole mess to clear out or clear up, it will take a while. Nigerians only need, yes, because you must supply constantly before things will normalize.
For electricity, for cars, for...
You look at Abuja, it's easing up in Abuja. No doubt about it. But it's not easing up in Lagos and Ogun states. People are suffering.
Demand.
Yes, of course. We have the bulk of a greater chunk of the filling stations in our country are located in that area. That's why even the supply to Lagos, compared to other parts of the country, is usually humongous. Because it's a big commercial center, so many filling stations here and there. The NNPCL has managed to provide the major marketers with petrol. They were talking about 300 million liters for those marketers. But the independent marketers, who are clearly in majority, they service the rural areas and they still have presence in the urban centers. Ipman has far more filling stations than major marketers. Ipman has been complaining that they do not have sufficient supply. So where you see filling stations, where you see people in Lagos lining up in filling stations to buy fuel, they are major marketers.
Yes.
You must make sure that this supply trickles down to the independent marketers who have far more outlets than the major marketers. It is when you've been able to do that, that those independent marketers now have sufficient supply. That is when this crisis will go down. How many NNPC outlets, for example, do you have in the rural areas? How many of the major marketers have outlets in the rural areas? Yet, they all need
the mobile total.
Petrol. Yes, the totals of this or the Owandos. They are largely in the urban centers. Even where they are in the semi-rural centers, they are very few. So the people who service the bulk of the Nigerian population, they are the independent marketers, and they've been complaining that they are not getting supply. In fact, their president came on air to say they have thousands of tickets with the NNPC at the depots, and they've not been given a single drop of petrol. That was sometime last week when we brought him on Politics Tonight. So until you supply sufficiently and it goes down to all those independent marketers, we are not going to come out of this problem.
Well, must we pass through this curve every 2 years, every 6 months? It's something that's perennial. That can we have a steady supply, a system that will not be halted, a system that will not, will suffer any hiccup, let's say 5 years at stretch?
Well, there is no human arrangement that is foolproof. Of course, you can have hiccups. It is when it raises concern when such stays, for more than necessary. There are fundamentals that we may need to address to ensure that we get off this curve, And one thing you can also notice from his explanation is that we have refused to give full deregulation to the downstream sector. And I think that is affecting us, very squarely. There are, issues of logistics also that he has explained. There are inadequate trucks to go around. If you don't have the trucks to go around, you may have the product, but how do you get them delivered? The bad roads are there. So if we don't address the bottlenecks in the logistic chain of delivery, we may still not be able to get off this curve easily. Again, there are fundamentals. Of course, you have heard that we have heard complaints of not just the inadequate vessels, but the fact that vessels are costly. The high cost of vessels is also another major problem contributing to this factor. Not just the mother vessel that lifts the oil, but also the daughter vessel that takes fuel from
the bigger vessel.
Yes, from the bigger vessel to distribute along the coast. Again, we have issues around that area too. Then you also have the exchange rate issue. We have not addressed all of this. So I think we may just need to, somehow we will see that this will, it will fade off, but I think it won't just be immediately. We may not be able to get it off completely, but I think we may be able to reduce the rate at which they occur, the frequency, and again the period. It is taking such a long time. I don't think it should take this long. Compare if you're looking at the capacity of the NNPCL after the privatization, I think they should do better. Being a company that is focusing now on making profit for the country.
This commodity, this product is tied to so many things in Nigeria. And it's like tied to our prosperity.
It's a big driver of inflation.
I'm telling you.
In fact, I never believed that a subsidy remover would give the ripple effect of the kind of inflation we saw. I never in my life thought
30%.
I was thinking of maybe 20. I never believed. So it shows how important this is to the economy of the nation. And of course, no nation will play with the life wire of its economy. You can't afford to do that. So I think we should do that.
I've always argued that we've got to find a way to even decentralize loading of petroleum products.
Yeah.
President Buhari, as a military head of state, built depots across the country. But a lot of those depots are not being used now. Or, for example, you need to find out when was the last time they used the Ore depot.
Yes.
You can say that, yes.
For those depots to be used,
not even 50%
are we going
capacity.
to involve the pipelines?
Yes, of course. We have to pass.
That's where there are problems.
A lot of those pipelines, you can't even use them now because they've been breached in so many areas. If you can't pump products through them at this time. I was asking the question that, okay, if Kaduna refinery, which they told us is about 60% ready, if we are to put it to use, how do we get crude? How do we get crude to Kaduna refinery? When was the last time we pumped crude oil through the pipelines.
Or even service
leading
the
up
pipeline
to
itself.
that place. Because over time, those pipelines had been vandalized, destroyed by people who wanted to steal petroleum.
Communities. Community leaders.
Yes, those communities are complicit in the destruction, in the stealing of petroleum products, and they've left those pipelines in a terrible state. And at this time, you can't be even suggesting that we should build a new network of pipelines to connect all of our 4 refineries. It's going to be difficult and so capital intensive at this time to do that. Then, if we do not find a way, either by revitalizing some of our ports that have been neglected over the years, so that we can push petroleum products to those ports, and then people in communities closest to those ports can go and evacuate the petroleum products so that their people can then, everybody is traveling all the way to Lagos.
Honestly,
to lift petrol.
that Papa Road.
That's why they damaged the road. You know,
pressure.
Those roads, you see, our roads are not designed to carry dead weight.
For heavy trucks. Yeah.
Carry dead weight for so long. But you see them stationed on that place for weeks. They are just on the same spot, damaging the road in the process. So, if everybody is going to lift petroleum products from Lagos, from those tank farms in Lagos, and going all the way to Maiduguri,
Wow.
going all the way to Maiduguri, going all the way to Kaduna, in excess of 1,000 kilometers. And given the state of our roads, they can't run. If you run, you end up tripping over.
Terrible
And that's
state.
a lot of money lost. So, you cannot have improvement in logistical improvement if we continue to all go to Lagos to lift and then drive all the way
It doesn't make
to the
sense.
north. No, we've got to find a way to decentralize it. We've got to find a way to do so,
yes,
so that we can reduce the pain.
You know, the first thing I mentioned was food deregulation. And again, I said the bottlenecks in our distribution chain, if that needs to be addressed. When the government newly came in and we were trying to put some things forward, I was one of those that advocated for a non-military person to be the security advisor, because then I gave my reasons. I said we have fundamentally economic insecurity aside from the terrorism. Aggression is largely internal. Now, if you look at the insecurity around our economic life, it is so terrible that if we don't tackle it, you can't even control illicit fund movement. You can't even put data on what you can't even do proper forecast on what you're expecting to get. Now, we keep spending money on securing pipeline using non-state actors. How about our military formation? What happens to our Navy? What happens to them? Is it that we must engage?
Capacity.
Don't they have the capacity? We've even drafted the Civil Defense Corps. You need to see how people struggle to get posted to those areas, whether in the Civil Defense Corps or in other formations.
To do what?
So that shows you clearly that those you have sent there to watch over the cookie jar are by themselves putting their hands into the cookie jar. So if we don't have an holistic reform in that sector to ensure that we're able to police our system, police our asset, our national asset, we can just come here, we can just cry day and night and things will not improve. He just told you that even if we fix the Kaduna refinery, how do you send products through the same pipeline that have been, balkanized, vandalized? It's so much that those who are what we are lifting in crude from those places, they can compete favorably with what we think we are even exporting. Unfortunately, we don't even have the data. So we keep losing daily and we keep borrowing money when we can as well short the waste, whether the waste along the along the economic lifeline or the waste in government. If we can do that effectively, we won't be borrowing to this level that, in fact, maybe we even need to borrow so much that Nigeria is, is doing 106% of its income on debt servicing alone. So I think if we're serious,
we have the capacity to produce more than 2,000.
More than 2 million.
More than 2 million liters.
Are you sure we have the capacity?
More than 2 million barrels. But
the potential, we have the potential.
No, but we've done that before.
I think
we've
so.
done it
Right
before.
now.
In the past, we did it. Now,
but it got to 900 plus.
It was, at a point, it was even less than that. There was a time when the militants were attacking oil installations, including export terminals.
Yep.
They brought us down to about 500.
Okay.
Before government now met with them and they found a way. The former vice president and Ibe Kachukwu, they found a way to placate those boys, and things improved. What I'm saying is that in Andoni, in Ogoniland, in all of those places, when was the last time we actually prospected oil in Ogoni and some of these places? And there are wells in those places.
Many of them.
Many of those wells are simply capped. They just lock them up.
Yes.
There are many communities where we've not gone at all.
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying that we have the capacity. But does the NNPC have the capacity? If you ask me, the answer is no.
If you say we have the capacity,
we need to bring more investors.
Where's the capacity? They don't have it.
You need to know. Looking at what we have on grant, that's
do they have it?
I'm making. NNPC does not have it. I'm saying that we need to bring more investors. Some investors are leaving. As they are leaving, we need to bring in more investors into our oil industry so that they can help us. Even some of those running who have these small refineries, modular refineries, some of them can be encouraged to actually go to a lot of these oil wells that we have abandoned and actually get them working.
They hardly get product from the NNPC.
Moving on now.
They hardly.
All right. Concerns and criticism are mounting over potential consequences of having foreign military bases on Nigerian soil. Northern activists and the new Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, have cautioned the federal government against allowing the United States and France to have foreign military bases in Nigeria. According to them, the pact will enable America and France to redeploy their soldiers expelled from Mali, Burkina Faso, and the Niger Republic to Nigeria. Their major concern is about sovereignty and security and geopolitical influence. But the charge d'affaires of the U.S. Embassy in Abuja, David Green, denied such plans. Let's hear from him.
I'm not aware of any such conversation, and I'm not really sure whose purpose it serves to agitate on this point. So we will continue our very strong security cooperation with the Nigerian security services and the Nigerian military and the Nigerian government, and that will always be in a spirit of partnership and respect for each other.
Thank you so much. But I said I could ask one final question
Sure.
this time around. U.S. does a lot for Nigeria. What does Nigeria do for the U.S.?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, there's 500,000 Nigerian Americans in the United States, a diaspora that bonds our two countries very, very closely together, and is an amazing conduit for cultural exchange of all kinds. The United States consumes a lot of Nigerian culture, literally, because Nigerian food is having a real moment, but movies and music and fashion. Certainly Nigeria buys U.S. products as we buy Nigerian products. Two-way trade between our countries in 2023 was over $8 billion, and it's pretty evenly balanced. Nigerians invest in the United States. Americans invest in Nigeria, which creates jobs for both countries. So I think that we share a lot of values as two great federal republics with a kind of freewheeling democracies, powerful states and subnational governments. We have a lot in common, not just the diaspora that bonds us. And I think that when we capitalize on our commonalities, we are able to achieve great things in security, economics, and health, and sort of in every field, technology together. I should have said something more about technology. I mean, we have huge U.S. government investments in technology, U.S. private sector investments in technology in Nigeria. Google is here, and Meta is here, and Microsoft are here, not out of charity, but because they see opportunity in what is one of the continent's largest economies, one of its most consequential countries. And
that actually raised another question in my mind. I know you said there's a conference coming up later in the year where technology and agriculture will be discussed. But then there are still so many agro-produce from Nigeria that is not allowed into the U.S. Are there plans to fine-tune this agreement so Nigeria could actually export its agro-produce to the U.S.?
Sure. Well, first of all, there are certainly Nigerian agricultural exports to the United States. So some companies are doing it. It tends to have it relies on being able to meet the requirements that the U.S. or any importer has in terms of food safety and sanitary and phytosanitary requirements. What I would say is that we certainly provide a lot of technical assistance to help Nigerian agricultural producers meet those requirements.
We'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this timeout. Stay with us.
Informational leaders constantly seek opportunities to reflect, reskill, and re-strategize for peak performance. That is why we invite all senior leaders in the public and private sectors for the ultimate leadership experience at the Dr. Abiola Salami International Leadership Bootcamp, holding in Mombasa, Kenya, from June 23rd to 29th, with the theme Driving Transformational Leadership with the Magic of Emotional Intelligence. This exclusive opportunity will expose senior leaders to a premium learning experience, a global faculty from Harvard University, daily relaxation schedule, luxury beach, and wildlife tours as they network with other global leaders. Don't miss out on this chance to engage and rejuvenate with thrilling activities in the scenery of Mombasa. Register before June 7th, 2024 to secure your spot. For inquiries, punch us an email on hello@abiolachamp.com. You can call us on +234 909 123 4567. DASIL is powered by Champ, a global leader in driving a culture of peak performance.
The Nigerian Army wishes to inform the general public, all interested and qualified candidates, of the commencement of online registration for 87 regular recruits intake recruitment exercise for trades, non-tradesmen and women. Applicants must be single and a Nigerian citizen by birth. Applicants must be medically, physically and psychologically fit in line with the Nigerian Army standards. An applicant must not be less than 18 years and not more than 22 years for non-tradesmen and women, while tradesmen and women must not be more than 26 years as at 30th June 2024. There are several benefits for joining the Nigerian Army. These include enhanced pay and allowances, opportunity to further your education, free housing and medical care, pension and gratuity, among several others. For more information on eligibility and requirements, please visit Nigerian Army Recruitment website http://recruitment.army.mil.ng to complete online registration from 3rd May to 7th June 2024. Selected candidates will participate in the state recruitment screening exercise scheduled for 20th June to 3rd July 2024. Nigerian Army Recruitment is free. Join the Nigerian Army and contribute to the preservation and protection of Nigeria's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Brigadier General Chibueze Ogwabo, Director, Directorate of Army Recruitment, Resettlement and Reserve. Announcer.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the first Journalist Hangout reaching you from the Federal Capital Territory here in Abuja. And I still have the Metro in the house, Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Kola Wole Johnson. Jide, this has been a long-standing controversy about military base, the United States military base. It will always prop up every other time. Now, why do we have, because of what happened, the situation in Mali, Burkina Faso, and some other West African countries, we have this question now?
What I think is even increasingly growing in Africa now, especially with the coming into office of younger military rulers, is a desire to send France, especially packing from
those Francophone countries,
from its old colonies.
Yes,
because France has held on to those former colonies and has continued to exploit them economically.
Yeah, their foreign reserve, everything.
If you listen to Usman Sonko is the power behind the Senegalese presidency. When he could not contest, when he was arrested and for legal reasons, he could not contest the presidency. He threw his weight behind
that young man,
a younger person, and that person won the election. But there was a speech that he made where he said, France, bear in mind that at this time you are not wanted in Africa anymore. You have exploited us enough. How many? He talked about the fact that France is not the only colonial power, but that others are not doing what France was doing. That France continues to exploit these people economically. France continues to sow the seeds of discord in those countries.
Military.
They choose the leaders that they want to support, and they do not care whether such leaders are popular or they are not popular. In some cases, they will kick against elongation of power by some dictators on the continent. But in some cases, they will simply look away. And Sonko was saying, look, we have had enough. So when you see what has happened in Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger Republic, you will see that that desire to break away from the ugly past is very evident. They are doing their best to remove the last vestiges of French brand of colonialism or neo-colonialism from their countries. The French troops in their countries have been expelled. Expelled from Mali, expelled from Burkina Faso, expelled from Niger Republic. In fact, the last set of French troops on Nigerian soil were sent packing on December 22nd, 2023. America also has 2 bases in Niger Republic, air bases. One in Niamey and the other one in Agadez. That is a town southwest of Niger Republic, about 920 kilometers to this capital of Niger Republic. They've also told them, leave our country. No be by force to stay in our country. In any case, what are they looking for? What has been the benefit of
those military,
their continued presence in those countries? They are exploring, what is it called? The French are stealing uranium that the Nigerians have in abundance. Now, after they were expelled, those troops were expelled from those countries, they've actually been looking for where to deploy them. They don't want to take their eyes completely away from Africa. They want to be somewhere around the central Sahelian region and then the Gulf of Guinea. And in the Gulf of Guinea, Nigeria happens to be the most, the best location for them. So what these activists are saying is, look, we are aware that they are lobbying Ghana, they are lobbying the Benin Republic, and they are lobbying Nigeria. So they are saying, don't allow these people to come and stay in our country. We don't want a military base. We don't want a military pact with the US or France that will see them being given a base or 2. As in the case of the Americans, they were given 2 bases, 2 air bases in Niger Republic. We don't want a situation in which world powers who are constantly fighting for influence now use our country as a launching pad for even their spying on African countries generally. All those surveillance, all those reconnaissance airplanes that they have, that they are using to spy on all those African. They are saying, no, Nigeria should not be a base for these people. We don't need them. I'm happy that this has been denied, but it still doesn't take away the fact that they say there is no smoke without fire. If not because there were moves being made to try and get into some of these countries, definitely the activists would not have said, look, we kick against this. Until it happens, you will not know the negative impact of it. So they don't even want that to happen. We almost had a war in our hands against the Niger Republic, a needless war. When you go to the far north, for example, a lot of Nigerians have cousins in Nigeria. We almost had a war with them. So they don't want to be part of that. And that's why you find people like Atairu Jega, the respected scholar, Suleiman Chafe of Arewa Research and Training Project, Jibrin Mohammed of the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, Awalu Rafsanjani of CISLAC. Then my friend YZ Yao of the Center for Information Technology and Development, CITAD, in Kano. And then even Morik. Morik,
Muslim rights.
the man,
yes.
You know, he doesn't always
support
worthy causes, but he appears, at least on this score, I do not disagree with him. I don't want to see a foreign country put their boots on ground in my country, or whether it's an air base. I don't want to see that happen.
Why is this always controversial, Kolawole?
This has some historical perspective, and I think I may take a little detour from what he was trying to explain. The international relations space has been described as an hypothetical construct because of the dynamics, because of the intricacies involved and the idiosyncrasies. Let me take you back to 1960 when Nigeria first got its independence. I remember that time, history has it that Israel wanted, we were to have bilateral relations with Israel. The southern part of the country supported that, but the northern part kicked against. Why? Now, in international relations, in foreign relations, there are factors that contribute or that determine what you do. You have the external factors and the internal factors, which is the domestic factors. And one major domestic factor is the structure of the country. Then again, the historical antecedent of that country. Don't forget, one, that Nigeria, has historical antecedent with the West. So a lot of times we tend to favor them in our policies. Now, in 1960, when Israel was about coming, I remember after the dispute, what Tafawa Balewa did that time was to say, come, Israel, you can establish your own embassy in Nigeria, but Nigeria would not establish its own embassy in Tel Aviv. And that appeared to, settle the dispute. But it was so fierce then that Sir Ahmadu Bello said he doesn't even recognize that Israel existed in his own heart. And that tells you the kind of sentiment that comes to play when issues of foreign bilateral relations are at play. Let me take you back again to what happened. When Nigeria was claiming non-alliance, we said we were non-aligned that time.
Non-aligned.
Yeah, that we were non-aligned. But don't forget that as much as we said we were non-aligned,
the focal
the focal point
of our foreign policy.
Yes. Let me tell you what happened. The USSR and the Soviet guys, Nigeria only gave them diplomatic plates, 5 in number, whereas the British and the US, we gave them so much, like 100. Why? But that changed in 1967-68 when Nigeria needed weapons to fight the Civil War and the British denied us weapons. American denied us. Nigeria turned to Russia and they supplied. Now, again, in 1966, after the coup, Egypt and the Arab leaders were already planning to, to stop bilateral relations with Nigeria. So, Ironsi had to quickly arrange some leaders to go meet them to talk to them. Why did they take that stand? It was because they felt, oh, those that were killed were Muslims and not Christians. So for the structure of Nigeria, whatever we would do in our foreign relations, we need to be very careful because Nigeria is called a secular state, but it is also heterogeneous in nature. So you can't take decisions that is easy for maybe an homogeneous country to take. You need to look at all the factors, and the factors on ground lines that come. Some parts of the country, especially the ones that are closer to those places where the US and the French are living, they are saying, no, we don't want them. In any case, Nigeria, we don't really have that good pact with France from time. These same France were supporting, in those days, people against Nigeria because of the Nigeria stand against them. So for us to now accommodate them, do you know what they did to African countries? About 14 African countries had paid France about $500 billion in what they call colonial tax. You came to our nation.
$500 billion.
Yes. Now, do you know that when they make money, it is saved in their bank? And guess what? The African countries cannot draw more than 20% of that money back. If they want to draw, they will take their own money as debt, and they pay interest on them. Balderdash. Why
are they even using the French currency?
Yes, that is the kind of things that we experience in Africa. So when Nkrumah said that we only had flag independence, but no economic independence, he was damn right. The economic exploitation of African nations, especially by France. Can you imagine? That was why when your uncle said that the US has done so much for Nigeria, what did we do for them? That was a wrong one. US will not go to any nation to do anything except for its own interest. Whatsoever they did was for their interest. So it was like give and take. They didn't do anything free of charge for us. I'm an Afrocentric man by nature, but by standard. So I will not agree to that.
But the truth is,
wait, I'm coming.
We have not reached the level of sufficiency.
I'm coming. I'm coming.
You take aid from them.
Yes.
You take aid from them. You are not sufficient. You are not self-sufficient.
How helpful has that aid been? They will write that they give you aids of $10 million. Take, for example.
Even NGOs are taking
money. I'm coming. So
them.
who takes the money?
NGOs
I'm coming now. They will send they will say they are training you. $5-6 million of that money stays back in their own country.
Nigeria should be
doing.
Coming.
Nigeria
will contribute troops. They will lose their lives in Sierra Leone. They will lose their lives in Liberia. They will lose their lives in Angola. They will lose their lives in some of those frontline nations. At the end of the day, those countries will be abusing us. We gain nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
We gain nothing.
So these guys, when they come here,
the lives of our people.
Now, guess what? When they tell you they give you aids, they give it to their own companies there to supply you those things. They hardly give you the money. These are the intricacies involved. And again, let's even go to the details. The tech companies that come here, these guys, they make money and they transfer their surplus value, their profit back to their home country. The money does not stay in the whole country.
This call.
Said,
thank you for joining us, Saeed. Saeed is calling us from Sweden. Thank you for joining us, Saeed. Yes, go ahead, Saeed.
Yes, I want to contribute to the current discussion. So, instead of the U.S. base and the France base that they are planning to locate in Nigeria, and we need to take another angle to it. Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Saeed. Oh, we lost that call. Yes, as we were saying.
Yes. See, I was trying to explain that.
For me, foreign policy should be dictated by national interest.
Simple.
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 Should be dictated by national
Simple.
interest.
That's why
All
they
this
love.
Father Christmas
That's why
approach.
they love Donald Trump. It was all
country-
about Americans.
what are you
Our
saying?
country
Yes, come first.
contributed so much, even to the freedom that South Africans enjoy now.
Yes.
What have they repaid us with?
No, now they flog us now.
Hatred, xenophobic
See,
killings and all that.
When we keep
It should
saying,
be driven by
See, we
our
have-
interest. Yes.
see,
We don't need them in our countries as
we
simple
had
as that. We don't need
policies,
them here.
policies that were not well thought. If we had given a serious, thinking process, if we had challenged our thinking process, to reflect on our policies, there are some things we got engaged in that we shouldn't have done.
Okay.
When there were several infrastructure to be built, we had Nigerian leaders going abroad to pay salaries of the workforce of a nation. Can you imagine? We were just doing that for that Christmas.
All right.
Leaving our country.
Okay, Joshua Alawi is calling us from Jos.
Hello?
Thank you for joining us,
Hello,
Joshua.
Joshua.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
I want to ask precisely what is the location of their camp?
What? What is the location
I
of the
want to ask where is their location of the base?
the camp?
No, there is no camp.
There's no camp.
They are
There's
still
no camp.
lobbying us. They are still lobbying. That's the point.
There's one camp.
They are still lobbying Nigeria, Ghana, Benin Republic. They are still looking for.
And they
Now,
dangle
again,
some carrots.
Now, again, let's look at the other side. Huh? If Ghana accepts and we say no, what is the import of that too?
All right, we have to.
Are you there, AY?
Okay.
Let's look at
Let's
the other
move on.
side.
Let's move on.
If Ghana
Call
accepts
Oli.
and,
All right,
we say no,
and
what happens to
finally,
us?
the direct relationships between rising insecurity and escalating food prices in Nigeria cannot be wished away. Hence, stakeholders are calling on the federal government to address insecurity ravaging many parts of the country to boost farming and food production. According to them, bolstering security will safeguard farmers and fortify the resilience of the entire food supply. Insecurity and food.
It's, everyone knows
can't
now
farm.
that we cannot. And banditry is extremely rampant in the major food production belts of our country.
Name.
Benue. Benue
Food basket.
is the most fertile part of our country. The Benue Basin is the most fertile part of our country. With local governments like Logo, very, very fertile. Now, when you go to Benue State, there are not less than 12 IDP camps. Some run by government, some run by private individuals. Criminal headsmen have chased them away from their farmlands. People will have been involved in food production in such places like Guma. Guma also very fertile, just like Logo. They've chased them away. People can't produce. They are now living from hand to mouth. Farmers living from hand to mouth in the IDP camps. You go to the northwest, also a major food production bed. Look at a state like Sokoto. It is Nigeria's #1 producer of onions.
Onions.
Yes.
Very essential.
Many parts of Sokoto, like Isa, like Sabombrini, like Tureta, their bandits are running riot. People can't go to their farms. Those who can go to their farms in such places, including even Katsina and Zamfara, they are made to pay levies imposed by bandits. Harvest levies. If you don't pay, you cannot harvest your crops. They will even destroy your crops. And where farmers try to confront them, they paid with their lives. It happened in Kebbi. They killed more than 100 people in one day. Now, the same thing is happening in Niger. Niger alone can feed our country.
Obina is calling us from Enugu. Thank you for joining us, Obina. Oh, we lost that. Niger alone.
Niger alone Look at Bogu local government, the biggest local government in Nigeria. It's bigger than some states in our country.
In Niger State?
Yes, yeah. Bogu local government, more than 10,000 square kilometers.
And Niger is the biggest state. Anyway.
And Niger is also like the epicenter of banditry. Because even the brand of banditry, they are the ones who shoot down. They shoot down airplanes. They
there was an
kill
soldiers.
Yesterday. They kill soldiers. So people who are chased away from their farmlands, even in my own town, my people can't go deep into their farms anymore. Families used to have farmsteads.
Yes.
You go deep, cocoa farms and the rest.
You can't.
If you go too deep now, they will kidnap you.
Also in my own local government, local government.
How will that not affect? Was that not where they found all of those places where they killed the traditional ruler? How will that not affect food production? So this is the point that these activists are making. These agri stakeholders are making.
Okay. AY, a few years ago, it's like we don't attend to issues when they are at the level of issues. We lead them to snowball to crisis. We said on journalist Hangout, I remember maybe 2018 June 12th edition, I made a case. I said, if we do not attend to the banditry, to the growing banditry, that it will lead to inflation and food crisis as at that time. Because I said most of these places that are supposed to be the home of food production, they are turning to IDP camps. I'm from Osel local government like you. You know what is going on there. In fact,
you're also from Osel?
Be careful. Okay.
I forgot.
You can hardly go. I can't even go home, my dear brother. I don't want to be taken. Ikaro, Ifon, all along. You get to all those places. And Legbeka used to produce. See, the tubers of yam from that place alone is in my ward. But they can hardly farm again. With agriculture representing over 23% of our real GDP and employing over 51% of the population, we are leaving it to banditry. To banditry.
We have Mohammed from Zamfara State, another state ravaged. Lost it.
So, I think clearly the food, the inflation you have in the country, it largely is not spiked by the food crisis, not just by what is happening in Ukraine and Russia alone. No. Leave the wheat. It is the one with us. Tubers of yam. Do you know how much they sell now? So do we import that one? I bought Gary cassava. I bought rice. All of them.
In Abuja,
look at the staples.
The man selling salaram. And he said he was from Katsina State. In Katsina, there are at least 12 local governments where bandits are running riots. 10 local governments. Yes, 12 local governments.
And you can't do anything.
And the key soldiers, they do all kinds of things. Now, he said the places where they used to go to buy cheap ram are not accessible now. Wow. I was asking, why is this thing so expensive? We produce, yes,
so ahead
a lot
of
them
this,
are from Chad and Niger. But we produce.
No,
that is what is driving high food prices.
Yeah, exactly. The movement.
Because you are not producing enough because bandits are not allowing people to access their farms. People of northern Nigeria, they are very enterprising, they are very hardworking. They don't need you to give them handouts. Just create the environment for them to be able to
not
go
northern
to their
Nigerians
farms.
alone, Nigerians generally.
No, we're talking about food production.
Food production.
When it comes to food production,
that's their major state.
Let me give you an example of your own local government. Okay, your own state, from Ijuakure. Those who brought money to invest in Nigeria in agriculture, and they went into the farm, they finished the farm, and the guy had to run for his dear life. All the money he brought, what he has worked for his entire life, all wasted. When we talked that time, do you know the response was?
Ogbomoso, some people went to the traditional ruler and said, please, what these herdsmen are doing to us, help us. They are all over the place, taking people's lives, stopping people from accessing their farms.
When we were talking, you know the worst part, that herdsmen were attacking farmers. They turn it around. They say herdsmen farmers clashes. How can you call that a clash? You come to a man's farm, you decimate him, you destroy him, and you call that.
You roll out your cattle to eat.
We like to romance our problem.
No, but it's everybody's problem now. It's
everybody's problem. But that time they were shielding them now. They were shielding them.
Onions, tomato, all these major
beans.
The government needs to put its foot on the ground.
Boko Haram is still terrorizing people in Borno State. And in Borno, the quantum of rice that you can produce in Borno alone can feed a greater proportion of our people. But the problem is, can those farms be assessed? Only a small portion of the state can be assessed by way of farmlands. There are some local governments that you can't even go, there are no-go areas. So the rate of food production has gone down. In some cases, like I observed when I went to Zamfara the last time, even bandits will tell you that, okay, go on our own farms, go and cultivate farm for us before you have peace. They too are growing crops, so they now force the people to go and work on their farms in exchange for peace. So we need to deal with the issue of insecurity. President Tinubu knows, and I've said it repeatedly, that he has to do better. The NSA, Nuhu Ribadu, must sit up. He must deal with the issue of insecurity. That's why he was appointed.
Yes.
If there is no progress, if our people are still being killed on farmlands and stopped from farming, we will call you out. That is our nature. That is why this program is different. We will call you out.
Maestro, I said something some times ago. You want to, give an office the role of monitoring and evaluation, setting the right KPIs to measure performances in government, and you gave to just one lady. How do you think she will do an effective work? Can that one go to a former governor and start querying him? Why?
And why
he's not performing?
Let's have submit our first report. She may just surprise you.
Let's see how far she will go.
Let's see. After that, we can assess our work.
Individuals does not drive such office. You create a system.
Let's see what she can come up with first. Let's not write her off before.
Yes, I'm not. She's cerebral. She's brilliant. But create an office.
Just let's give her time.
My brother, let's see what she does with the first report. Remember, there is a process now whereby even the rest of us can contribute.
Yes.
She's not going to be the one to assess. All of us can join in assessing.
As we wrap up, I would like to thank those people that made it possible. Engineer Nii Akinwale in Lagos, engineer, and all our engineers in Lagos. I want to thank especially my engineers here, Paraizo, Samuel, Sly, Michael, Kazim, Ajibade, Dari, Fred, Ezekiel.
He doesn't mention this by this in Lagos. He doesn't.
No, because this is the first time. I have to appreciate my team. My guys.
If we can do this well during the first time,
awesome.
The next one
will be better. How colorful the studio is and everything.
Awesome.
I want to thank you. Kola Johnson, thank you for coming.
And the cousin of the rest of us.
Yes, so
he's our cousin already. Cousin of the house.
Oh my, thank you.
Talking about 10th anniversary.
Yeah, we are.
Journalist Hangout will be
10 years around October, and we are planning big.
We'll tell you that. We unwrap it. We unwrap that. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Join us on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
Now where you they come from? For inside this hot sun.
Antenatal enter market.
I happy well for this clinic where you they go. It is very important for the baby.
Not true. It go make me dey safe. Me and my baby where they carry for my belly.
That means everybody, plus including pikin, so where they inside belly, go collect vaccine.
Today, I collect vaccine for tetanus. I collect vaccine for COVID. And those vaccines, now them go take care of my baby and me myself. And now I can't know say he get vaccine for pikin them separately. And he get the one for pregnant women like me. I dey follow who no rule.
Women when get belle supposed to collect them COVID and tetanus vaccine. They protect them and them picking for belle from infection. Waka go any health center or call 7722 for more information.
The following is a paid presentation by Shopex TV.
Tired of pans that scratch and stick? Or cookware that takes up valuable space in your kitchen and are of little to no use? Cooking used to be fun, but now it just feels like a chore. Introducing Shopex Gotham Hammered Copper Collection, the perfect cookware to upgrade your cooking experience. The Gotham Hammered Copper Collection features a super durable ultra non-stick surface. Eggs stick to other pans, but with the Hammered Copper Collection, they slide right out. Incredible! Plus, the Cool Touch solid cast handle makes it safe and easy to cook even the hottest dishes. It's oven safe up to 500 degrees, so bake this beautiful chicken stew pizza and serve it straight from the pan. Or this tasty delicious cake that will have your whole family asking for more. Any recipe can be made in these pans, and then it wipes clean with ease, so cleanup is a breeze. Plus, use your hammered copper pan to make homemade pancakes that flips and slips right out. Or make mouth-watering jollof rice or even fluffy poundo with ease, because nothing sticks.
I needed a cookware to keep up with me. The Gotham Hammered Collection has been a game changer. No more burnt meals or hours spent scrubbing.
From Shopex TV.
You're watching Beyond 100 Days with Nifemi Okuntoye. The federal government says it's aware of false alarms being raised in some quarters, alleging discussions between the federal government of Nigeria and some foreign countries on the siting of foreign military bases in the country. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, in a statement on Monday, asked the general public to disregard the story. He said government is not in any such discussion with any foreign country or considering proposals from any country on the establishment of foreign military bases here in Nigeria. Mr. Idris adds that the Nigerian government already enjoys foreign cooperation in tackling ongoing security challenges and that the president remains committed to deepening these partnerships with the goal of achieving the national security objectives of the Renewed Hope Agenda. Another update is that the electricity distribution companies in Nigeria, also known as DISCOs, have commenced reduction in tariffs for Band A customers. The DISCOs, in notices to customers on Monday, said the move was in support of improved service delivery to customers under the specified category. The Keja Electric, in its earlier notice, said the significant tariff adjustment is aimed at enhancing electricity accessibility and affordability for customers. It said the Band A customers had been slashed to 206 naira 80 kobo per kilowatt hour from the 225 naira per kilowatt hour as approved by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, and it's effective from Monday, 6th of May. Eco Electricity Distribution Company and the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company also sent a similar notice to their customers, saying the development was in alignment with the cost-reflective tariffs framework introduced in 2020. So the tariffs for bands B, C, D, and E, we understand, remain unchanged. In other news, officers of the Lagos State Environmental Sanitation Corps have commenced the demolition of shanties at the Adeniji-Adele section of the Third Mainland Bridge. Lagos State government had announced on Sunday that it would remove more than 100 shanties along the water channel. Commissioner for Environment Okumba Wahab mentioned that the exercise is part of government's commitment to reclaim all ungoverned spaces that dot the Lagos landscape. According to the commissioner, the shanties serve as hiding places for criminals and points of peddling hard drugs and substances, which is injurious to the well-being of law-abiding residents.
We just have to remove all these shanties from our environment. And most of the shanties, you can see that they are built close to the canal, which is not, even for their health, it's not even good. So the government has taken a stand. They don't want anything under the bridge in Lagos, except those ones approved by the government. The commissioner gave a time frame of 21 days to clear all the infractions under the bridges in Lagos. We've cleared some before. So we have the major ones that we have, they are not really much. We'll keep on clearing, we'll keep on clearing.
Let's take a short break and we'll be back with more on the program. Stay with us, everyone. And now to a subject of discuss, organized labor has tabled 615,000 naira as new minimum wage per month, citing the present economic reality. The NLC President Joe Ajaero says it's in the push for improved conditions for workers. The proposed wage increase follows extensive consultations between the NLC and the Trade Union Congress, culminating in the consensus that the current minimum wage of 30,000 naira is woefully inadequate to sustain the average Nigerian worker. Labour leaders lamented the failure of some governors to fully implement the existing wage structure, which expired in April, 5 years after the enactment of the Minimum Wage Act of 2019 by former President Muhammadu Buhari. This act stipulates periodic reviews every 5 years to align with the evolving economic realities faced by workers. So how realistic is this proposed figure by organized labor with the current economic situation of the country? Let's hear from Joe Ajaero himself.
Just close to the end of May 29th, the
proposed figure.
Okay, I greet our listeners across the globe. Am I audible enough?
I can hear you clearly. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I think there is a collusion here. I appreciate the position of Nigerian Labour Congress